Organizing your creativity is our topic today. Luminar Coffee Break. I'm Vanelli, Director of Education for Skylum, and joining me today is fashion photographer Lenworth Johnson. Hello,
Yeah,
Lenworth.
good. Thank you for having me.
So,
It's good to be here.
my buddy, we met how many years ago?
Was what 3 or 4 years ago at Photoshop World.
Yep, and extremely talented, and he took his fashion photography to a totally different level.
Mhm.
Kelby has them on kelbytraining.com where you
Yes.
can find all
My
your
yes,
courses.
my latest class, how to create impactful fashion and beauty images.
And I love his accent. Um,
Yes, I'm from Jamaica, so
not Jamaica, New York, but he's
no,
from Jamaica.
Jamaica, the island.
So the reason why I have him on is we talked with Joe Lila yesterday.
Mhm.
Absolutely amazing, just awesome talking about creativity, developing your own assignments to get out there and just jumpstart your creativity. What you're going to work with us on today is how to organize that.
Yeah,
And you're a master at storyboards.
apparently so. That's what I've been told.
So I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay, so first thing, like when I'm planning a shoot, what I like to do is, I come up with an idea, or if an idea is pitched to me, I come up with what's called a mood board. So, I have my colors or the look that I want, the hairstyle, which encompasses makeup and how deep I want it to go, the colors I want to use, the outfit. So I'm using stylists, makeup artists, and all that stuff. So I'm putting all that stuff on a mood board so I can visually see what the outcome is going to be. And then so I'm sharing that with the team, and then we go over that. We check the colors, make sure, okay, will this work with that model?
Now,
Will
now
that
before we go any
hairstyle?
further, keep in mind when you were a one man show,
Mhm.
you didn't have stylists and all that.
Yes.
So this will work. And the concept of this isn't just for fashion photography. If you want to get ready to photograph a school play,
Mhm.
your grandchildren coming to visit, this is the same concept
You would
you could
use.
use. He's just taking it to another level with makeup artists and so on.
Yes.
So I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so it's for your everyday. So, you go down the street, you want to shoot something, some street photography, you see something in your mind that you want to use. So you have like just a little concept. It could be anything. It could be on paper, it could be on your phone, just something to look at to remind you, okay, this is how I want it done. And so you follow that concept throughout. In the fashion industry, it gets a little more in depth where, you could be working with art directors and they are giving you that stuff. So you have to follow through and give them what they want for the end product.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Joe, because Joe talked about that with
Mhm.
his planes,
Mhm.
he put pictures of the planes on the board.
Yes.
And that's what you're talking. Even if
Yes.
you're a landscape photographer,
Mhm.
you may say, look, I'm visiting this location.
Mhm.
And then where would you recommend them finding images?
Well, I use Pinterest, I use Google, I use Instagram. I'm even watching a television show
Yep.
and I see something. I mean, just quickly take a screenshot. I'll go look up the show and see the pictures they have for it, and I'll just put that in a mood board. And okay, I'll get back to that. A concept comes up, and I'm like, okay, I have that, and I'll put them all together and create that shoot based on that.
Nice. And for a lot of the group here are amazing landscape and macro photographers. I'm slowly inching them into the portrait side. So they're getting there. But with that, imagine spending, $4,000 or $5,000 on a trip
Hmm.
and not having, like you said, a storyboard.
Yeah.
Look, and it's a photo trip. I mean, if it's a family trip, that's different. But if it's, you're going to go photograph the castles of Scotland,
Hmm.
or you were talking about the lighthouses
Yeah.
of Maine. Oh, that was Joe.
Mhm.
Lighthouses of Maine, Joe Nuzzo.
Mhm.
And the same concept. What would you recommend people do?
So if you're going to photograph the castles, you would want to research that kind of stuff before, so you know exactly what time of day would be a
Okay.
good time to photograph the castle. What shot are you looking for? So you go 500px or Google and you pull up images of shots that have been done before, so you can kind of see. That gives you a base idea to go off. It's not like you're copying it for
Or,
everything. It's just a reference for you go by, so you don't spend all that money. You get there and then you come back and you're disappointed with yourself because you don't have the shot you want or the shot you thought you would have got. Yes.
So now, and you're really good at, and you push heavily on, make sure you write it out or actually physically
Yes.
print it or put it something so you can see it.
Yes. There's a app I tend to use sometimes when I'm on vacation, Photo Pills. So I kind of pre-do it and I'll put in the information. I'll say, okay, so I know the sun is going to be here, or the moon is going to be here, depending on what I want. So I kind of have a idea of what the whole scene is going to look like when I get there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I should now that we have the convincing everyone storyboards are a very good idea.
It's a fantastic idea. It's a good way to go because it helps you along in your creative journey. It's not like you're copying everything you see. You see something, you like it, and you're going to put your creative spin on it.
Gotcha.
So it helps you along to go a far way. It
All right.
makes your job so much easier.
Good. So now that we appeased my good friends in the landscape world, let's apply this to your fashion. Because I know they're dying to see some of your work. You have that video you want to share?
And this is just a little promo video. It's like 11 seconds. It's nothing long, so there you go. There you go. So with this, what I basically did was,
I noticed this on Instagram. This is like the new, and we'll play it again.
yeah,
This is like the new, and I know it's funny you're showing it. Rapid fire
yes.
pictures. I've been seeing a lot of models doing that. I'm like, what the heck?
So I am not a video expert. I've worked in television before, but I'm no video expert. So what I do is when I do these shoot, I'll get my son because these young people there, and he tells me like, Dad, you're just way too slow. This is how it's done. I'm like, okay, you just do it. I'll approve it. So, I give him the pictures I want to use, and, I'll tell him what music or sound to put to it, and then he'll put it all together for me.
Okay, I'm so sorry. This is why I don't look at the chats. They said, is this V when he was a teenager? All right. Jeez. All right.
Actually, this is Connor Carlson, and he was on, what was it, America's Ninja Warrior?
Yes.
In one of the early seasons. And every time he's in town, he always calls me up. He's like, hey, let's work. Let's do something. Let's see what we can come up with. So, we'll put stuff together, spend a day or two working in creative stuff.
Awesome.
So
All right, let's see one more time. Let's see the video again. Great. All right, and you can stop sharing the screen, the little red button. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So now let's touch base about that. He comes to town and says, "Hey, let's get together, create some stuff." What do you do with him?
So first I ask, what do you have in mind? And he might send me an image, he wants to do this. I'm like, okay. So I'll think about it for a minute. I'll go to Google or, watch a movie or something, and I'll come up with something, and I'll put it all together on a mood board, and I'll send it back to him.
Now, when you say a mood board, this is part of the organizing. Where do you have some stuff for that?
Yes,
don't you?
let me, hold on, how do I get to that?
And so a mood board helps you organize. Now, you can have a digital mood board, or you can have an actual paper, which
I print it out sometimes depending on where I'm at. I might print it out, and I have a JPEG. It's something I do in Photoshop. So I just put it all in Photoshop. I can move stuff around easily, and I.
So what you're saying is any program that you don't have. Do you have an actual program, or do you?
No, I just use Photoshop.
Okay, whatever you have. Yeah. Open that up,
and then.
Gotcha. So let's see how you organize it.
How do I share this?
Yep. So we're gonna go back. Alt tag. If you want to go back to Zoom.
Which one?
And go back to Zoom for a moment.
Here it is.
Yep. And then, move it up a little bit. There you go.
Okay, there you go.
Now do this, hit up here. No, not that one. Yeah, that's it. Yep, that one.
Sure.
Yep, there you go. Now we have the whole.
Yeah.
So if you move anything, you'll be fine. Now do me a favor. How about you minimize your, yeah. Thank you.
Great.
And I love Phil, but how about you?
We don't want to see Phil.
Oh, he's done. There, you got it.
Okay. All right. So, for example, this is this is a mood board. This is what I go by. So this one was for one of the models you see on the video. Her name is Paige Seal. She travels year round. She's in Europe or Paris or somewhere, but whenever she's around and we're putting something together, so this is what it looks like. So
and then you did that in Photoshop.
Yeah, I just put it in Photoshop. Okay. I did the Adobe Color thing.
And that's mentioned. So guys, there's an app. It's free. Mm-hmm. It's Adobe Color, but they spell it
Adobe. I think it's Adobe.
Carl will find it.
Color Wheel or something like that. I forget the name of it.
And it actually, you ask what color palette you want.
Yeah, you can actually drop this image in there. Like you pick one image, you drop it in there, and it gives you different color schemes. So it will pick and say, okay, the skin, the lips. So it selects those colors for you in the range you want it. So it has the wheel and you can go in and tweak it. So this is what I did here. So I wanted the jewelry, wanted that color material. So we kind of go through and then I send this to the makeup artist.
Gotcha.
She'll look at it and she'll tell me, dude, that won't work for her. Or, yes, that's perfect. We can make that happen. Send it to the hairstylist if we're doing hair, and she'll say yes or no, or make this adjustment. And that's where it becomes really easy to get your shoot done. So now you're not on your shoot day trying to figure out, well, wait.
Gotcha. Or they bring colors.
Yeah.
Then you're like,
will that work? Or is that the right goal? Or so it makes it so much easier.
Yeah. And again, this applies to where, let's say, again, grandchildren or your children are coming to visit and they want to do a photo shoot with you.
Yeah.
Ahead of time, make sure you look at their outfits, that everything's looking good, no one's clashing.
No one's clashing. You want to tell them, listen, avoid all the prints.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want you coming looking like a cougar, a lion. No. So I do stuff like that. I do families, I send them stuff and I say, okay, this is what I want you to wear. This is the color scheme. This is what we're doing.
Perfect.
So, we come in and we have everything here ready to go. If I'm on a location where I don't have access to my computer, I have a printout ready to go, so it's always there. So we're always referencing that base.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I love that. We have some of these other images.
And this is just a behind the scene of how I'm shooting. So
okay, good. So let's talk about this real quick. This will be an added bonus.
Yeah.
Clamshell lighting. That's what we're really doing here.
Yes.
So if you notice, and they got the name clamshell obviously because of a clamshell.
It's like a sandwich.
Exactly. And what lighting are you using?
So I'm using Godux right now. So this is actually the Westcott Beauty Dish, the Joel Grimes Beauty Dish, and I have it in a brown color. Yeah, so I would Westcott on brown color.
Okay, that beauty dish was supposed to be mine. It was seriously supposed to be the Vanelli beauty dish.
Okay, so
thanks a lot.
Hold on,
thanks for bringing that up.
This is the Vanelli.
No, hey, thanks for bringing that up. No, my good buddy Joe got it.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that little sore subject up there. But if it had to go to anybody, I'm glad it went to him.
Okay. I'm sorry.
But that's okay. I have a little single tear. But anyways, no, but I love your clamshell, and you used a strip box on the bottom.
Yes.
Now, if you don't have this setup, you could do it with a reflector outdoors.
Yes, because sometimes, depending on where I'm at, I use a reflector here.
Yep, for the bottom.
So, for the bottom, I put the reflector there. I'll have somebody hold it, and I'm shooting.
And then for the top, you can actually use a diffuser to where you could see through it. Put it up on top. Put it on the bottom. Now you have his clamshell lighting outdoors.
Outdoors, yes.
Right. Next.
And so that's one of my makeup artists working. on getting the look together.
Oh, okay. So I noticed. I knew it.
Mhm.
Yeah, bring. Look what she's doing to the eyes. Um, right there. Now, do you recommend they wear fake eyelashes sometimes? Or?
Sometimes it requires that.
Yeah,
So, and that's where I'll go in and I'm like, okay, it's too long, or I don't need the entire eyelash. I just need just a
just a
small
piece.
portion, and so they'll have to cut it and or just fill in the areas that I
Yeah.
need.
Now
So,
remember again, this is fashion.
yeah,
This again is um, fashion photography. So most women are not going to go out with eyelashes that are 6 inches long.
yeah.
Um, but craziness looks good, like this
But
makeup.
yeah, but in everyday shoot, it's kind of the same principles. You take away the stuff you don't want. So
Exactly.
you add the stuff you want in your scene, you take away so you know you kind of editing
So,
before
yeah,
you shoot.
exactly. So we don't have to do that
In
afterwards.
post, yes.
Awesome. All right. All right. Now let's get back to the because you and I could talk about portrait stuff all day long.
Uh,
Let's come down here.
yeah.
Good. Okay, good. So I see what you did here.
Yeah.
So on your storyboard,
Mhm.
in the case
And so you
here,
see where it comes back together. So
the
we know,
blues,
yeah,
yep. And those are her makeup.
yes.
Yeah, her makeup on it. All right, so why don't we do this, Carl? Why don't we open it up for discussion at this point and let we can stop sharing your screen. So were there any questions coming in?
We didn't have any in the chat. Lenworth, just to make sure the Adobe Color wheel that you're referring to is online, not an independent app.
It's online. It's
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
Adobe site.
And it's
Okay,
free.
so I put in two of the URLs for that. And then Big Cheese, Wayne, put in one for the drag and drop for the gradient tool.
Awesome.
So at this time, if you'd like to ask questions, you can either unmute and ask them, or you can put them in the chat.
Who is that? Warren? He said that last photo is better than the two guys. Your last photo of the girl
Oh,
instead of us two. Thank you.
You should be so surprised.
So I try not to look at the chat because these people,
it's a rough crowd, man.
they're hilarious. And someone's at my front door at my house. So, anyways, I do know mood boards. I'm sure you download an app for the mood board.
No, what I do is so when I find these pictures, I just screenshot.
Yeah,
and
but I'm
them
sure
in.
there is apps.
There's probably a app.
Because you're very creative. When I saw
Yes.
your mood board,
Yeah.
I mean, his looks extreme. I mean, I looked at that and thought, oh man, you could try to do Adobe Spark, but now it's not Spark anymore. It's
They recently
events.
changed the name, I think. Yeah.
Well,
You
Spark.
can even do it in Word. It
Yeah.
don't matter where you do it, as long as you have something to go by. It doesn't have to be as detailed as mine. So it doesn't really matter where you do it.
I'm sorry, Nick. Yeah, and ironically, Nick, yes, they sent me 2 new hard drives, so I'm shocked you knew that. Anyways, I gotta stop looking at this chat. All right, all right, Carl saved me here, bud.
So I don't have any questions in the chat at this time. If you'd like, we could show the Adobe Color Gradient tool really quickly.
Okay.
It's pretty easy to drag and drop. I can either do that, Lenworth, or
Yes.
you can.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, go ahead.
hop in.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Let's go to Edge, share. So here's a photograph that I just recently used for a YouTube video that I posted today. No, you guys can't see it. It's still private. Let me go to my pictures. Let me just pick a random picture. And I can just drag and drop a picture in here, and then it'll come up with the gradients for you. You all can see my picture, right?
Yes.
Okay, and then you can change what you're sampling for the tones, and then it'll come up with the colors for you and all of that. So there's an example of using the color gradient tool. So thanks, Wayne.
So, for example, that go back to that screen.
Hang on. Here we go.
All right, so I've done stuff where they want like a painted background, a specific color. So this is a perfect example. So what I'll do, I'll take the RGB color here and I go to the local hardware store and have
Gotcha.
them mix
Color
it,
match it.
and have them color match that, come back and paint the backdrop, and we
Nice.
have exactly what they want.
Now with X-Ray, not X-Ray, Data Color. With Data Color, I actually have this little device.
Yes, I have one of those that color, and it tells you what
Exactly.
color. Yes.
Yep, and it tells you what color and also sends you off. Thanks, Carl. We're good. Awesome. So
How would you envision doing your storyboard idea, going to, say, a national park in the fall for the fall colors? How would you imagine to put that together?
Well, first you want to know what national park you want to go. What time of year are the fall colors at its peak? At its best. What time of day do you want to shoot? You want to do sunrise or sunset. How do you want to do it? Then you find images that matches what you're thinking. And so you put those together as you go by. So when you get there, you can, pull it up on your phone or your computer and you say, okay, and that's the direction they were taking it from, very low angle going up. So I might want to try that, or I might want to move my direction that way
change
and go a different perspective. So you have that as your base.
Interesting. Now, who's the one who asked the question?
RG.
RG, that inspired me just now because I was talking to Joe Nuzzo. He was dying to see the orange blossoms here in DC. Well, obviously not in the wintertime, but there is a set time with the orange blossoms.
Vanelli, they're cherry blossoms.
Cherry blossoms. Thank you. Cherry. I'm sorry, Florida. Orange. So yeah, cherry blossoms. Thank you so much. They make sure I don't say stupid things, and they help me out to make sure they correct me. I love this group. So the cherry blossoms.
But we wait till you say it before we correct you.
Yeah. So cherry blossoms. What's cool about it is he's always wanted to photograph them. And what you just did, RG, for me is imagine taking a series of images that when people photograph these cherry blossoms, and you have the color theme, run it through the Adobe check. Now you grab a model. Yeah. Boom. And now you have the color scheme for the model's outfit or makeup.
Yeah, you can do that.
And it can be a really cool fashion shoot. Thank you. That gave me a good idea on that one.
Yeah, but it's wherever you shoot, a national park, or you want to go shoot the Eiffel Tower at a certain time, no matter what it is, have an idea, because it's all starting with an idea. So you have that. You look at images that's been done before. So you can see, what time of year is a good time, where the sun is going to be, depending on what you want. You might want the sun on the shot at the, right behind the tower, wherever you. So you got to research that stuff before. You can't just fly all the way to Paris and then you come back and you're miserable with yourself because you didn't get what you want.
Awesome. Now, the other topic that was really cool, which I like to do too, is like, RG, because I got that idea from you. I'll put it in my Google Notes. Just put it in there, orange cherry blossom model, hair and makeup, outfit. Now I'll have a little, to-do list. Excuse me. So the next time I feel like, hey, I want to get creative, I'll just look through those. But what I do like, and I don't do this, and I have to start now, I do like your idea of making sure you fill out a storyboard or a mood board, because that's one thing I don't do. And then when I get to the shoot, I have a shot list. Yeah. But I like that idea, because now once I get there, say, you know what, let's not forget these things. Yeah. Holly and I went to, she's one of our members, the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia.
You got it.
Right, and we photographed the barber's chair that Al Capone was in, and
it had a ghost in it also.
And I took off because of the ghost. I think I showed your wife that. Yes, that was when I showed your wife, and she was, "You're afraid of ghosts?" Yeah, karate can't stop ghosts or sharks. But Holly got some shots of Al Capone's actual prison cell. It had beds, lamps. It was like nothing you would think of. And she got those shots. because she knew what she was going for.
Yeah.
I went for the chair and only the chair. Saw that ghost image you
And you
saw,
run away.
and I took off.
So we have a question in the chat now. Leavenworth, you're a highly regarded fashion photographer. How did you get there? What was your journey? Who were your mentors?
Well, none other than the greatest man on earth, Scott Kelby. All right. So I actually started in college back in the early days of, I think they call film cameras. I don't think those are around anymore. So, you know, I had to go to the dark room and do all that stuff. And when I was in college, we had a lot of landscape projects. So I started out doing landscape and fell in love with it. But then when I moved to Houston, then I realized, oh God, I gotta travel. And it was becoming hard. And then I was like, okay. So I started photographing my kids, you know, trying to build
Yeah,
it
we
up.
talked about this.
Yeah. And I did all my kids. Then I signed up with Kelby one. And then after that, it was the rest is history. So
and that's where we met.
Yeah.
So networking was a huge thing. Because you
networking
showed
was
me,
a huge
you
thing.
and I were just hanging out,
Yeah.
and we saw this. You know what? You got to show Scott this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then met Scott.
Yeah.
Told Scott, look, he's an up and coming. And we talked. You and your wife and I talked about this,
Yeah.
guys. Yes, my former career was martial arts.
Yes.
Now, I was fortunate we had a manager who knew what fights I should fight
Mhm.
to make it to the top.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I was the best in the world.
Mhm.
I was rated, but there were so many people better than me, but nobody ever heard of them because they didn't know how to find their path. And your wife said it at breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
She was, I look at some of these pros and I think, I'm not being prejudiced towards my husband, but oh, she's hard on you. She was, his work is amazing, but how come his wasn't being in the forefront? And that was because of the networking and knowing how to get there.
Mhm.
So in his case here, we had a long discussion about this,
Mhm.
about his talents and his skills. She's in financing, which is a perfect combination, a
She's
finance
yeah,
person and a photographer.
making sure those cameras get bought.
Yes. And we talked about networking with the right people.
Yeah.
You want to be on the cover of National Geographic. Well, you start
you
to
get
look at what does it take to be on that cover.
On that cover, yeah.
Who do you need to associate with? Who do you need to train with?
Mhm.
Because there's so many photographers out there.
There's a lot. There's a lot of us,
So you have to decide what separates you from everyone else.
and it's extremely difficult, to get through it all. I've been published in well over maybe 24 magazines across the world, and it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It took a lot of work. I at nights I'll sit there and I'm writing stuff and then trying to research stuff and getting stuff together and practicing.
But you hit the nail right on the head. Luck, laboring under correct knowledge.
Yes.
Even here, you're here on your own time.
Yeah.
And so in his off time from teaching, he's taking personal classes.
Yeah, because you still got to grow. We don't know everything. You still want to learn. You still want to grow. There's people out there who I admire.
Yep.
Matthew Jordan Simmet is.
Oh yes.
Is one of my biggest fans.
Matthew Jordan Smith did a lot of stuff with Oprah Winfrey.
Yes.
And when he speaks, he's so motivational.
Yes.
And it's amazing. So the point is, networking is huge. Education is huge.
Yeah.
I did show you Tony Corbell and a few of these other masters
Yeah.
that helped me 23 years ago.
Mhm.
They had zero ego. Now let me rephrase that. All of us have an ego to a degree.
Mhm.
Their egos were not overbearing.
Mhm.
His job was, he was a new guy, me, needed help with metering. He pulled me off to the side and showed me how to do it. And for this day, he hugged me and he said, Vanelli, thank you so much for all the help you've done with Luminar. You've really and helped me with my photography. And I'm like, Tony, are you kidding me? After all the years, what you've done for me with the photography part of it. And then it was so neat. He introduced me to Bill, which was his original mentor. And of course, we shared stories and stuff about when Tony first started, and it was great. But all of us started somewhere.
Yeah, we all started.
And as long as you remember where you've come from,
Yeah, you will know where you're going.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
You know, and I got to Matthew by way of Skip.
Yep, so going.
Because when I met Skip, he reviewed my website and he's like, "You need to go talk to Matthew Jordan Simmet." I'm like, "Okay." So he put me in contact with him. He gave me his details.
Oh,
I
awesome.
emailed him, and then from there, everything started moving.
Good. And he's not name dropping. Just look. The reason why we mentioned it, so look up Matthew Jordan Smith. He's just absolutely amazing photographer,
amazing.
Great guy
And he's
overall.
an amazing mentor, you know.
So,
Okay, so Ian asks, what photographic equipment do you use, primarily cameras, for your indoor shoots versus your outdoor shoots? Do you use the same? What do you use?
I use the same camera for everything. I use Sony.
I'm sorry. Just like my golf game, I use a 700 for everything. I'm sorry.
No, I use my cell phone for travel. No, I'm a Sony shooter.
Okay, and then Nick says,
Which Sony cameras specifically?
Right now I'm on the R3.
Sony A7?
Yeah, A7 R3.
R3, okay. All right, so Nick asks, using your cherry blossoms as an example, so you do all this planning, you do your mood board, and then you get on scene and it's overcast and the light's not right. Now what do you do?
Perfect.
Well, that's where experience kicks in.
So who said it best? Everyone has a plan till they get punched in the head.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so by that point you don't panic because you go from A, B to C.
Yeah. But if you're at that level, by the time you get there, you will already know what to do. So you know, okay, I'm gonna need this much light. I'm gonna need that.
Yeah. So if this doesn't, if we get there and these orange or these cherry blossoms are not good
enough, then you might have to scrap the shoot for that day, and you might have to wait maybe until next year, until it comes back around.
Or
you find a different location.
Yep, and have to learn to, I hate to say it, compromise on it.
Yes. Sometimes
I was just wondering if when you use the that color wheel, you'd still be in the right range. I mean, it may not be exactly what you were looking for, as opposed to if you were in a studio, you had complete control of the lighting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's even in studio, I see it as still a range of the colors, because when, you know, I've brought stuff to the local hardware store and I'm like, okay, this is the color I need. It's not exact as what's on my screen, but it's in the ballpark.
Exactly.
And I can tweak that to make it work.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. Any other topics or any other questions, Carl?
Nothing in chat at this time.
Awesome. Well, guys, you know, I want to thank you so much. He has his beautiful wife waiting for him. I asked her if she wanted to come up. She was, you guys be talking about photography? Yeah, I'm good.
She likes nothing to do with a camera.
No, but she got excited when I talked about the cell phone.
Yeah.
And using Luminar with her for the cell phone.
Yeah.
That she liked because she used to click, edit, done. So, but thank you for taking your time out of these classes. And guys, thank you so much for joining us. Arena has been sending me messages, and make sure you wish her a happy belated birthday. Her birthday was yesterday, but Arena's excited because Kirk and a lot of the other ones, she said she received lots of response with Joe Glida. Make sure we show the same love over here. And if you like where this is heading, because I love bringing in my friends to share some of their ideas, and then we'll get back to the editing part, to where the editing with Luminar, and you know, if you're using it as a plugin for Photoshop or for Lightroom, you know, we'll show you how to do all of that. So you're at the stage now to where all of you have been around watching us do Luminar for so long. You're getting it down. Now let's inch our photography up and then go back a little bit to the editing. So it's like a nice dance that you're trying to do, because
editing is just finalizing those final moves
overall. So, but thank you, everyone.
So Vanelli, excuse me. So what you're saying is that if you do take the shots on that overcast day and you don't scrap it, you can fix everything in Luminar Neo
There you go.
and make it into a sunny day with beautiful clouds and the right colors.
So Phil
Sky
gets a
replacement.
dollar. Phil gets a dollar every time he mentions Neo. So, and he works it in. But
Way to go, Phil.
but you're right, because Joe Klein has said that
I
too.
mean, I think the presentation was fantastic, and the photography that you showed us is absolutely great, the final product that we looked at.
Mhm.
But basically, it's Skylum and Luminar, and I would imagine that if it's not as perfect as you want it to be, and it can't always be perfect, you have to take it into some sort of, especially a raw image, you take it into some sort of processor.
Exactly.
And although until
right.
now it was Lightroom and Photoshop, now we have the Luminar Neo alternative that's going to make it easier and faster to
Exactly.
create a great photograph.
Yep, thank you, and it's cheaper too.
Yeah.
Because if you were on set and they were paying for this, yeah, they're not going to scrap the shoot. They're going to tell you, you better make chicken salad out of this chicken.
Yeah.
Boom,
Yeah.
do something with this. That's where
Exactly.
adding the beautiful lighting or replacement skies
Sky
and
replacement,
stuff coming in will
yeah.
be absolutely perfect. You're absolutely right on that. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you all for having me.
Good, and we'll see you at the next coffee break.